Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of FTB Sports Cop Talk. That's right, you heard it here, Cop Talk. So we talk all about the Cop, the best team in the world. Come on, Ali. All right, good evening, Mr. Botsy. How you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you very much, Chelsea. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good. Always a pleasure. Mr. Stoney, my brother, how you doing, sir?
Good evening. I'm fine. Thank you very much. I'm fine. Just looking forward to this evening's show.
Yep. And we all looking forward to the season then.
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Fans back in the stadium.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant. Excellent. All right. So it's all about Norwich, Liverpool at Norwich, away at Norwich. Team talk, lads. Team talk. So obviously, we've been watching some pre-season games. Been a lot of players having a run out. Some have played in different positions as well. But what do you reckon of Klopp's first starting 11? Do you think he's going to stick to his tried and tested, or is there going to be a few surprises in there? Potsy, we're going to start with you.
To be honest, I think there will be a couple of surprises. I think there have been some impressive performances throughout pre-season, and I feel he might go with a little bit more of an inexperienced defence due to Robbo's injury. From all the reports, he's not quite sure yet on Van Dijk starting, so I wouldn't be surprised if he starts Kanate alongside Matip with Tsimikas at left back, which is quite inexperienced for us. But it's sort of a case, no disrespect to Norwich, but if you're going to sort of take that risk against any team, it's going to be a newly promoted team that you're expected to dominate the game over and come out with the 3 points. So I think we may see a bit of a surprise in there. I'll be surprised to see Milner playing left back, especially with the injuries and, well, not technically injuries, but players not quite fit yet from the Euros in the midfield and the likes of Hendo and Thiago. So I expect Milner to be in there.
Okay. Midfield?
Midfield's obviously Fab. You can't have a Liverpool midfield without him. And I think it'll be Millie and I think Keita will get the start as well. And then I think he's going to go with the tried and trusted front three. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Jota ahead of Firmino.
Yeah.
Again, I think he can experiment a little bit against Norwich, but yeah, that's how I'm looking. And obviously Trent and Alisson and right back and goal respectively as well. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at for Saturday's kickoff.
Stoney,
I think Saturday's going to be quite interesting. I mean, I'll get to the midfield in a minute. I know before we came on live, we were just speaking about the indifference of having pre-season friendlies and not always being able to read too much into it. So, I mean, we'll have Alisson goal. I think that the left back's going to pick itself now with Robbo's injury. Trent at right back. I'll admit I have absolutely no idea what centre back pairing Klopp's going to go with tomorrow. We've obviously seen Matip have a good pre-season. We've seen Ibrahim have quite a few games. We've seen Gomez there. We've seen Van Dijk there as well. So that defensive partnership, I have no idea who Klopp's going to go with. Same formation anyway, the 4-3-3 that we're going to play. I see Fabiano playing. I see Keita starting as well. But then my question mark over who's the other midfielder that's going to play with them. When we've seen Milner play so far, he's played as the more deep line midfielder, but I do believe that's where Fabiano is going to play. Harvey Elliott's had a good pre-season. I think he's played all right over on the right-hand side. So Harvey can play over there. Ox may possibly play over there as well. I know Thiago probably hasn't had as much of a pre-season as he would like to. And the same thing with Milner. With Henderson as well. So my midfield three is Fabiano, Keita +1. I don't know who that's going to
You sound like you got an invite to a party, Stoney.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Stoney +1.
Yeah, and the same thing up front as well. I see Mane and Salah starting, but I can see Minamino starting in an ambush instead of Bobby as well. Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. I'm going to throw something a little bit left field there.
That's a
Definitely
curveball.
something left field.
Stoney,
So,
that's a curveball.
it is, and I am not a betting man at all. Hence the reason why I'm quite left field. So make sure I retain my coppers. But yeah, I see Minamino starting instead of Bobby. So that's where I'm at there.
Okay. All right. Well, Alisson standard, we know this already. That's Alisson, Trent Alexander. Matip definitely starts in the middle for me. I do believe you said about the inexperience at the back. For me, Kanate, that would be his first Prem game. He's not used to the Prem. He's not used to the pace of that. I personally wouldn't start him. For me, I would actually start Virgil, probably give him 60 minutes, and then if anything, bring on Kanate. Left back, Simisac for me. Yeah, that's a no-brainer for me. In the middle, Fabinho, definitely the holding player. Keita definitely starts for me. I think he's looked really good as well. I would like to see it be Keita and Thiago, but fitness-wise, like you say, we're unsure if they're going to start. So maybe for me, Harvey Elliott could get in there. And I'm front three, definitely Salah and Mane, and Jota the Shotter. For me. Jota the Shotter, man. Seriously, for me. I think he deserves to start as well. Like we say, all right, so I've always said this as well. Pre-season, he's done well.
Yeah.
I don't really take it. It's all about fitness for me pre-season. Opposition's not always up to full scratch. They obviously haven't always got their full squad of players. But for me, I think Jota the Shotter deserves to start up top for me. Definitely. And then also that looks good for us coming off the bench. Firmino, Ox, players like that to come off the bench. Henderson. Do you know what I mean? We're looking good with players to come off the bench.
Yeah.
So who do you think will be our danger men? Stoney.
Danger men
For Liverpool.
Minamino. No, I'm sincere. I'm so. It was. I think it was quite interesting with the loan period that he had out at Southampton as well, and prior to that, he probably didn't manage to get as much gameplay as he probably would have liked playing for us. Didn't probably play as much games as he would down at Southampton, but I still believe long term that Minamino is going to be a replacement for Bobby in that ambush position. So I mean, for this season, we're probably fortunate we'll have Bobby there, Minamino, and I know that he's experimented with Ox there as well. But for tomorrow, our danger men, I'm going for Trent and Minamino for us. I mean, Salah and Mane tick the box all the time anyway, but I'm just going to give somebody else a chance for the opening game. So yeah, Trent and Minamino for me tomorrow.
Okay, Potsy, who's your danger man for Liverpool?
To be honest, it's whoever we can get the Luis Suarez mask on. Just absolute nightmare for Norwich, isn't he? He still gives John Roddy nightmares to this day.
Yeah.
I think Salah is an obvious one in a sense, but let's say he's had a full pre-season as well. He had nothing to do in terms of football in the summer, so I feel he will want to hit the ground running, especially with AFCON. How straight-minded he is in terms of going for that golden boot. So he'll want to hit the ground running, and I think he'll look to exploit what could be, from the reports, a little bit of an inexperienced defence for Norwich on Saturday. So, and I like Keita as well. It'll be good to see Keita, if he does start, to be able to make those driving runs that we know that he's got the ability to do and to cause problems there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I definitely believe that Keita can be a danger man, and Harvey Elliott for me as well.
Yeah,
like we say, we know already. We know about Salah already. I also believe that Mane is due a big season now. after last season. And I think him and himself, he knows it as well. He's going to want to prove a bit. So I believe he's definitely going to go for a good one. All right, so I'm going to throw my hands up there, to be totally honest. I'm not really sure about the Norwich squad, to be honest. I'm not. But what I do know is a few players there who they've got, who I'd say is a couple of danger men. Like, you'd have to keep your eye on Pookie. He's a live wire. He's definitely a live wire. You have to keep your eye on him. But I believe the calmness and the experience of a Matip can definitely keep him quiet. I do like Matip. I think he plays the game so graceful as well. But he's also very intelligent. He's also a very intelligent footballer as well. Yeah, very intelligent. But so who would you think your danger men would be for Norwich then?
I think if he can get off to a good start, probably Billy Gilmour. I think if we all remember, he had a fantastic debut against us. For Chelsea, absolutely had Fabinho on strings, which is not the player that you want struggling. And I think, the only thing is he won't have that quality of players around him in terms of the service that he can provide. But I think if we let him get a good run in the game, he could cause some problems for Norwich. And obviously, Pookie, there's no party without Pookie in Norwich. He will be scoring goals again. Probably not at the same rate as he did the first time round, but he's definitely one to watch.
When you say that, Poxy, just quickly before I go to Stoney, when you say not the extent that he did before, do you think that there's double-edged sword really? Because you think, all right, so people know him now, they know about him. He came up that not last season before, he did really well, scored goals. So people know him, but also he's had that experience now. So why can't he score more?
To be honest, I think it just depends on the players around him. He had a great link up in his first season with Cantwell, who I think we understand is not going to be available. I think with it as well, like you say, the fact that people know him, I think potentially it depends as well on the Norwich attack in terms of the new players around him. He managed to get a good link with them. I don't think Norwich in their first season back in the Premier League made that many signings. So obviously they had that sort of connection from the Championship, whereas he's got a few new attacking players around him. So it's about obviously building that. And if we remember, he hit the ground running when he was first in the Premier League.
Oh yeah, definitely did.
He hit the ground running, but then he slowed down. So is he going to have that same impact, or can he build that consistency? For me, I don't quite know.
Okay, Stoney.
Yeah, I think just what's Pookie? I think Pookie's 31. And as he said, he as a player of his stature coming in to probably a lot of people who probably didn't watch Norwich, he kind of set the world alight really in terms of stats. I mean, last season down in the Championship, 26 goals, 4 assists in 39 games. So I mean, look, he still knows where the back of the net is. So I believe Pookie will have an impact in the Premiership this season, not against us, but I think he's out there to have a good Premiership. We're forgetting about is it Max Aarons that plays at fullback? Max Aarons. He's almost gone underneath the radar. I was thinking about it earlier. He's a tidy young player as well. So I think Pookie, I think, is going to play good for Norwich this season. Max Aarons, and as you said about Billy Gilmour, everything coming out of Chelsea, and obviously from him having the opportunity now to represent Scotland at full international level, that's holding him in a good stead. I mean, they've got the experienced centre-back, Grant Hanley. I think he's going to return late August. I think he tested positive for COVID. So I think that's going to be a big loss in terms of experience and stability at the back for Norwich when we feature playing him. But they've got a young centre-back, Andrew Omadali, right? Yeah, I was pronouncing the name incorrectly, right? But he's played the majority of the preseason friendlies, and as you said, I don't know whether it's been to do with Grant Hanley being injured, and he's come through their under 18s, under 21s, and under 23s. So he's going to be somebody to look out for. As he said, Tom Cantwell, brilliant first season when he played in the Premiership. It's going to be a shame for Norwich because he said he's got a sprained ankle, so he's probably not going to feature tomorrow.
Oh,
and I know.
Oh.
I mean, sorry, over the weekend. And Norwich have obviously signed a young Greek up and coming talent, Christios. He plays as a left forward, right forward, or also in the cam as well. And as he said, I'm not going to give the false pretense that I've been watching any Greek football, but 20 goals in 25 assists. I mean, 20 goals in 25 games. That's an alright return there. So we'll see how he's able to settle in the Premiership. Hopefully he does nothing against us, but he scores against everybody else. And that'll be fine.
Different kettle of fish this league, mate. Different kettle of fish.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure they're coming up. As he said, look, they've got a good manager. They've got good knowledge of what the Premiership has been around with that experience that they had before, and they had a good account for them in the Championship. I think when they played us, did they play us when they came up the first time? Didn't they play us the first game as well? Wasn't that 3-3, or did I get that wrong?
3-3. It was 4-1.
Was it 4-1? I think it was 3-3.
You're thinking of the Watford game?
Yeah.
Mo Salah's debut. You're thinking of the Watford game.
All right.
Oh, jeez.
There you go. And
your specialist subject is Liverpool.
So yeah, I don't think Norwich are going to have anything to fear coming back up. The club seems to be run extremely well. We'll come out with the 3 points, but I'm sure they'll make a good account for themselves on the day.
Definitely. All right, so we're quickly going to say good evening to you, Mr. Edward Brown. How you doing, sir? And he says, who is going to replace Ginny? Who'd like to get into that one first, then?
Potsy can, because I know how I'm going to answer this. So I'll allow Potsy to answer before I do.
This is the thing. Like, I don't know if it's either a case that Klopp has already got someone in mind, or he's sort of happy to move away from needing that genie role in the midfield. Because if he was that concerned, even though I know there's always been issues in terms of the money that we spend, blah, blah, blah. But for me, if Klopp needed that midfielder, he would have got that midfielder. And potentially still might. We know that with Liverpool's transfer policy, it's mental. Sometimes, like Diego Jota and Fabinho, were linked and signed them the exact same day. You look at Thiago, the start of last summer, it was like, oh, we're all in for Thiago. We're going in. Then it died down during the summer. Oh, Liverpool can't quite get in. COVID issues. And then, bang, we had Thiago. So could that happen with Sal Niguez? Could that happen with Renato Sanchez? Michael Edwards is a puppet master, and we got to let him pull the strings. But if there is anyone to take over that role, I personally wouldn't mind seeing Curtis Jones do it. I thought he looked really comfortable. I think he's brilliant with the ball at his feet in those close quarters. He's very quick in terms of his mind. The only thing that concerns me about Curtis Jones is he's not quite brave with the risky pass forwards. There was a few times where we broke last season and he had the ball at his feet, and if he had a bit more confidence to try and slide it into Mane or Salah on the wings, we could have got, could have broke away. But that's the only thing that really concerns me about him, to be honest.
Okay.
For me, Curtis Jones.
Which is quite interesting in saying that as well there, because like anything else, Genie was a wonderful servant for us, amazing professional. And, he's just gone on to a new project. And I can't speak highly enough for him. I think for us, I don't think we'll be looking for a replacement in terms of what Genie brought to us as a midfielder. I am hoping in good spirit that we see the best of Naby this season in midfield, that he'll get more game time. I remember bearing in mind as well, Ox can actually play in that position as well. So, I mean, in addition to playing either of the number 8s or in the ambush, Ox may well have an opportunity to play there. And as you said, we can't really read too much into pre-seasons, but if it's based on the loan period out at Blackburn, I just want to see more of Harvey Elliott. I really do. And, the strange thing as well, I know you mentioned about Curtis Jones, how he featured for us last season. And it's fine. He tailed off a little bit near the end. There's nothing wrong with that. That's going to happen in any young player's development. But I would like to see for Curtis Jones's own development that I agree with you. He plays more with more confidence, with a bit more bravery as well. Maybe that's the way that he's been asked to play, a little bit more restricted. I want to see him come out of his shell. But for me, as you said, Naby, I believe, can play in any of those midfield positions. Ox can. And as you said, Curtis Jones, we got there, Elliot. And we'll see, as you said, Ben Woodburn, I mentioned before, he's been with us for a period of time as well. Whether he's going to break into that mold, it may be too high for him, but we'll obviously see. But yeah, I think Naby and Ox are more than capable of filling that gap for Genie's void.
I think Naby and Ox are more than capable of playing about 6 games between them. To be honest,
that's the stick. It's the injury concern, isn't it?
That's my concern. Yeah. There's no doubt in their talent for me, none whatsoever. But it's just, can they stay fit? That's my major issue.
Yeah.
Right, so Edward also says he would love to get Martinez from Inter Milan as a striker and put Bobby in a cam.
Okay.
Gems,
that's interesting.
Good evening, Gems. How you doing? Hope you're feeling better. She's saying midfield of Fab, Keita, and Jota, and Bobby, Salah, Mane up top.
I mean, even that you both mentioned as well, Artie and Potsy mentioned it as well. I have to actually apologize here, right? You're actually forgetting about Thiago. Thiago came in with us when, obviously, last season, in different period we had with the injuries, we can actually possibly see him playing in the position that he was purchased to play in, either of those number 8s with Fabiano behind him. So maybe he may well be able to provide the opportunities here for us as well. So you're right.
Definitely.
The transfer window's not closed. There may well be an opportunity for us to purchase. And as you said, I like the way that we make our acquisitions. We're stealth. We don't need to be out there on TikTok, Snapchat, billboards, you know what I mean, everywhere, showing our underwear in public. Let's just do it stealth. We get somewhere, shaking Klopp's hand, and they're with us.
Good evening, Reese. Reese is one of our faithful listeners. I don't think Reese has missed the show yet. And he says he thinks our danger man could be Timothy Scratch, the way that he puts the ball in the box. Interesting. And also, he would like to see Harvey Elliott start on Saturday as well. And he thinks that Edward Brown thinks Elliott and Minamino could be our danger players as well. Going to send a big shout goes out to Mr. Amonde. He is one of our hosts on the Man United agenda. Mr. Amonde Juma. But he says, he was saying, fantastic. We all team. He says, big shouts out to me, Jem, Stoney, and the crew. He says he's loving it. And he says that we've got no pressure this season as we're not champions. So it should be interesting to see how we play. So that's a sly little dig there. He's got them little slide, the kidney punch, one of those ones. Yeah. Slide little digs there. But that's all right. That's all right. Because you lot ain't defending much either, are you? Really? He says, Gini will be a big loss. Never knew he was so good at Newcastle. And Prey Creator shows his worth this season. Very true. But Gini played, he was playing as a winger more at Newcastle.
Yeah.
He came to us and then started to play down the middle.
Yeah. And you're right. Even at Newcastle, he played. So you see that advanced role that he was playing for Netherlands, the last few games in the Euros. That's probably more of the position he was also playing for Newcastle. So I think in terms of him being a wonderful professional, the way that he actually adapted and was consistent for us is as I said, once again, a credit to him.
Definitely.
Reese mentioned something about Rashika as well, being the danger man for Norwich. You're right. He had a lot of gameplay last season, but for a young player, what I think he played, you weren't right. I think he played 24 games, 14 goals and 3 assists. So I forgot about Rashika for Norwich last season in the Championship. Good shout on that, Reese. Thank you.
I would say, though, in terms of Norwich, I think Wendada is going to be a big miss.
Yeah,
or Buendia. Sorry, I think he will be a big miss for them.
Yeah,
definitely.
100%.
And you know, again, that's a danger man that we don't need to worry about until Villa, of course.
Yeah.
Just a point in terms of Keita, I completely agree. I think this is Keita's make or break season. I absolutely, I love Keita. Like, I want it to work for him.
Yes.
I
think every football fan does, to be honest. I think they all do.
Yeah. I think he is such a clever player, and you know the way he drives forwards when he is fit. You know, you can see the impact he can have in a game. Yeah, but I do feel, you know, what is it, 50, 60 million? We signed him for
56 mil.
56
yeah,
mil.
we're barely getting 20, 30 games in all competitions this season. I think, yeah, if it doesn't work this season, I wouldn't be surprised if he was to be moved on.
100%.
You know what? You're right, Potsy, about that. You know, I wonder if the concern, you're right, it's probably going two ways as well. It may well be a make or break season for Naby. And it may well be, if things do not work out for him, we need to at least get him fit. Because could you imagine us attempt? I mean, look, Edwards is amazing. He'd probably end up getting the same amount of money selling Naby, even if he's injured anyway, right? But it may well be, you're right. What is he, 26 now? We probably do actually get him fit and we move him on. And we just sometimes have to admit that sometimes players' bodies, for various reasons, aren't made up for it. Yeah, because I like him, but his body at the moment is just made of bread.
Yeah.
So we just try and get him fit. And you're right, I do agree. I really hope he does have a good season for us.
100%. 100%. I love him to absolutely smash it. Like, you know, and make himself a challenger. Because in my head, when everyone's fit, our midfield's Hendo, Thiago, and Fabinho. So, you know, he will still be challenging when we have everyone fit as well. So this is probably a great opportunity for him to, you know, make his claim for the first team.
Yeah.
With those two, Hendo and Thiago still recovering from the Euros.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, lads. So what do you reckon predictions for the game then? Scores, goal scorers as well.
It never comes up for me on the Super 6 when I do these, so a bit worried. I'm gonna say 3-1 to us. I think the last game at Carrow Road was a pretty difficult game, to be honest. I think they did cause us some problems, but I feel we can get a good early start. I think Salah will be on the score sheet. I think Jota will get off to a good start. And you know what? Maybe a nice little corner from Trent gets Matip on the goal. You know, why not? Let's get Matip involved. I love that man. 3-1. Let's do it.
Okay. Story?
Same thing. I'm going with Potsy on a 3-1. Minamino is scoring. Mane scoring, and Salah. It's going to be one each. I do believe that we're going to get breached by one goal. I don't know how it's going to go in, but I just have a feeling. And I do believe that it's going to be the young Greek winger who's going to come on and get them their goal at Carrow Road. So 3-1 Liverpool.
Okay, well, it seems that we're all going for 3-1 because that's what I had in my head as well. 3-1. I'm going to go with definitely Salah. I reckon we'll get off to definitely get on there. I think Harvey Elliott might get one as well.
I'd love it if he did.
And I believe that it's between Jota and Mane for me for the other one.
Okay.
Definitely. But I feel, and my reasons for saying that, I think that we'll be breached, because I did want to be brave and say 3-0, but the reason why I say I think we'll be breached, every time when the season starts, the new teams from the Championship have got so much impetus and energy when they first come. Those first 5 games, they are, it's like they're on some kind of drugs or something. And they go at you 150%. And I think that's what it is, that energy, and that I think that's why we might get breached personally.
I mean, I've got it in my head that Norwich will score first because of that exact reason. Because when you think as well, they've got the crowd back at Carrow Road as well. Yeah. I think, I think you're absolutely right. I think they will come out as strong, but we will get a foothold in the game, take control, and do what we do.
Yeah. Okay, TTM Sports says Klopp's team selection is like the question of life. No one knows, and that's what mystifying for us, which is true. Edward Brown says he reckons it's 3-0 to us, Salah, Ox, and Jota. And Amonde says, yeah, good point, RE. He reckons about talking about the promoted teams and about their energy when they first come up for those first 5 games or so, which you always see for true. All right, gentlemen. So we've spoken about that part now. We're going to move on a little bit. And spanner in the works now, because everyone's saying, yeah, Ox might score, Ox might start. What if Ox is at Southampton on loan? This is what's been going on now. So,
no,
what's going on?
I honestly don't see that happening. I don't see the point in, from the reports we're hearing and from what we saw at the back end of last season, Klopp was using him in that false 9 role as a backup defender. And I thought he was really good. I mean, he only got like 15, 20 minutes here and there doing that role, but I thought he looked really good. He was, for me, he's more direct than Firmino when the ball's at his feet. In terms, he runs right at the defence and causes them issues. So I would love to see him do that. So I don't see the point in us training him in that to let him go out on loan. Like if he was to be sold for, you know, around about the 35 million we got him back for, which Mickey Edwards could do, then yeah, fair enough. But to loan him out, nah, I don't see it happening.
Stoney?
Yeah, I think I extend and say the same thing as well. I think we'd have to be quite mindful about getting him out on loan. And the only reason why I say that as well, his injury record as well. I think it will be quite disheartening to know that we would have loaned him out as an example if it was to Southampton and he was to get injured out on loan. I think that'd be crazy for us. What is Ox? He's 27 now, isn't he?
Yeah.
So and you know, one of the things that Ox has got underneath his locker as well, he's probably one of the only midfielders or players that can actually play in the midfield and obviously anywhere at the front. But if he does play any of the number 8s, he's probably only one of the midfielders that are actually willing to take a shot on goal from outside the area, from outside the box. I was watching before and I was thinking, do you know what? Nobody else actually does that. So he's clearly got it in his locker. 27. I believe he's going to stay. If he was to go out on loan, I think I'd be a little bit disheartened about that as well. Similar to Naby, I want both of these gentlemen to have an amazing season for us this year as well, because that's money in the bag for us, really.
Definitely.
Can I just quickly ask, in terms of Ox, with the comment we made about Keita being a make or break season, do you think it's the same for the Ox?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Both of them. Both.
They're the same boat, aren't they, really?
As they say, last chance saloon for both of them, as far as I'm concerned. Definitely.
Yeah.
One day saying that we're in the Champions League, we can't weaken our squad, so by loaning out Ox, he's a good asset. I think we all agree with that, but I think that the only issue that we have, like we keep saying, is if he can stay injury-free, then he's a good asset. Yeah. So no point in keeping him and he's in the treatment room. Yeah. That's the only issue. For me, I personally don't want to see him go. I really like him. And I like him for them same reasons, that he's very direct, he scores goals, and defenders hate playing against people like him. Yeah. Who are going to go at you and put you on the back foot. They hate playing against people like that. For those kind of reasons, and he's a goal-scoring midfielder, which I think we really need. I would love him to stay fit and get game time. Yeah, 100%. I don't want to be. I'm loaning him out. Crazy for me. If anything, you know what you're going to do? You're going to cut your losses. You're going to sell him, but we would need to replace. Yeah, 100%. You cannot afford to let Gini go and then Ox go as well, and then not replace. For me, you have to replace. All right. So that's Ox. Shaqiri, Leon.
It's one of these things where I wanted it to work out for Shaqiri, but once again, injuries have played a role. He was never coming in as first choice with Salah. Yeah. I liked him when he's come on because, you know, similar to what you say about Ox being pretty much the only midfielder to take a shot outside the box. What I saw last year, especially during that poor run from the start of the new year, when Shaqiri came on, he seemed like the player who was actually trying to quicken the pace and the tempo in the final third. You know, when we're trying to get through the 10 men, he was the one who was trying to play the quick passes. He was the one who was trying to shoot from, 20, 25 yards. And it didn't happen for him, but he had that, he had that attitude into those games, which we were really missing. The good thing about Shaqiri going is the fact that Harvey Elliott will get a lot more minutes. From the reports I've seen, Klopp is basically happy enough for Shaqiri to go, and is happy enough to keep Harvey Elliott as the replacement.
Step in,
exactly. And I really, that's for me, that's the positive, because I absolutely love Elliott. I think he is going to be top class.
Definitely. I think so too. I think Shaqiri, for me, cultured left foot, quality left peg. I must say, had a good Euros as well.
Yeah,
a very good Euros. So I was actually thinking, well, it goes both ways. Either Klopp's going to say, all right, he's done well in the Euros, we could keep him and use him, or it's boosted his price. But before I move on to Stoney, 6 mil. Sorry.
No.
Not
I think we'll get more.
Not for me. Or there's got to be a hell of a lot of add-ons in that deal for me.
I think I agree with you. Even in a depreciated market, I think 6 mil. Yeah, I think it's quite disrespectful. I think we'll get double figures, and at double figures, maybe whether it's 11, whether it's 10, 11, 12, 13, or whatever. But I believe we'll get double figures for Shaqiri. And just to extend on basically what you said, Artie and Potsy as well, basically hit the nail on the head really about that transition from Shaqiri to Elliott. Shaqiri's 29 now, so the same thing as well. I think he was bought to bolster our squad. I think he's been a good servant for us as well, and maybe behind the scenes as well, he's probably supported us with that extra bit of international experience with some of our youngsters as well. But you're right, I thoroughly agree with you. I do believe this is going to be a good opportunity for Harvey Elliott this season as well. And I mentioned earlier in the show as well, I was quite surprised where we were actually playing Harvey Elliott during the pre-seasons as the number 8s. Even with his stature, he's beefed up as well. I thought, he's come back game ready. So, but I mean, even if for him, if he's able to get at least 15 games across all competitions today for us this season, for Harvey Elliott, I think that would be a good opportunity for him. And as I said, the same thing with Shaqiri, the games that he hasn't played, you see he's been a model professional when he's played. He's given a lot of effort, obviously shown his class and his experience as well. So I'm sure if he moves on, he'll move on with our blessing. And Edwards will get a good price for him.
You better bloody do. I'll tell you. 6 million is just not cutting it. No chance. No way.
But not definitely not for 6 mil. Can you even buy players for 6 mil? That's like a signing on fee, ain't it? In football terms, that is.
I think you might combine. I think you can buy a big toe and another toe for that.
Oh gosh.
For about 6 mil. But
I mean, to be fair, we got the best left back in the world for 8.
So, there you go. All right, there you go. Okay, all right, there you go.
Good point. Okay, so before I get to Amonde's question, which is a good question actually, very good question, we'll quickly discuss Renato Sanchez.
Yeah, so I mean, I've seen again on social media from apparently reported by Fabrizio Romano, so he's quite obviously well respected in terms of his stories. But apparently, Liverpool are still looking at a deal for Renato Sanchez. For me, I like him. I think forget the Swansea loan, forget the kid that he was. He has really developed into a top player during his time in France. Personally, though, I would rather us go in for Saul Niguez, just simply for the versatility. I feel my biggest concern going into this season is that we do not have the cover for Fabinho if anything happens to him. We saw, obviously, not having any centre-backs last season was always going to have a major impact, but the bigger impact on top of that was having Fabinho having to cover centre-back.
Yeah.
And no one was good enough to play that number 6. Thiago is not a number 6. He's a conductor of the game. He likes to get forward, but he tackles like Paul Scholes. Love him, but he's not the best tackler, let's be honest. So he's not, he's not built for that role. So Saul Niguez has the ability to basically be sort of a Wijnaldum Fabinho hybrid, sort of a jack of all trades, just master of none. but I'll be happy to have that versatility in the team. But Sanchez, if that was the way to go, I trust in Klopp in who he decides to bring in, and Sanchez is a top player.
Stoney.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing what Potsy was saying as well. I think Sal's probably had more. The last 2 seasons, he's probably played a little bit more consistent than Renato Sanchez has. I think last season was a really good season for him playing for Lille. And in football terms, I think what is his figure? Anywhere between 35 and 40 mil.
Yeah.
Will Lille be able to recreate what they did in League One this season? Minus Messi being at Paris Saint-Germain anyway. Do they think they'll be able to replicate their performance again this season? I'm not too sure. So you're right. It may be something where they say, look, we just cash out. We get Renato Sanchez, we get the money for Renato Sanchez and we rebuild. So I think either one coming into us will add a new dynamic. And as you said, both of them are priced in around the 40 mil price range anyway. And with some of the sales that we're currently going to be making, I don't think that's going to dent our finances. And even if you look at it like that, what have we brought in this season? We brought in Ibrahim and nobody else, have we?
Yeah, that's it.
No, that's only
so, I mean, so just Ibrahim. And if, as you said, if we were to bring in either Saul or Renato Sanchez going in 40 mil, then that's calm. And then we move forward. But I agree with you. If we were to bring in another midfielder, it'd be positive. But if we don't, I completely trust Klopp's judgment. Completely trust it. It may be something that we've got our eye on. And as he said, is the transfer window closed? Was it 31st of August? So we still got a little while as well. So either acquisition will be a positive for us as well. But we're not screaming for it. And I know one thing I won't do is be jumping on a bandwagon saying that we need X, Y, and Z when we're showing a nice level of consistency as well with our team. And as we mentioned before, injuries prevailing, Ox or Naby are still in a position there as well.
Okay, so quickly, we're going to read a few more comments before we move on sharpish. Amonde saying, Shaq is talented but needs first team footy. I would push Harvey over him. Yeah, spot on. Same as what the panelists said. He said spot on Potsy with regards to Harvey Elliott. He's saying Trent has been on the weights. He's looking pumped. Good evening, Charles. Mr. Williams, how you doing, sir? Question that I did want to ask, which I found was very interesting from a Monday. We are seeing teams evolving to counter Pep. Do you feel teams have sussed Klopp out as well?
No. I think last season wasn't the last dance. It was a consequence of the injuries to our defence. If you think about it, we play such a high line. We've got to have that confidence in our centre-backs in terms of their anticipation, their reading of the game, and, of course, the pace if the ball goes over the top. You have that with we have our most versatile defender in Joe Gomez, who's quick. We have our most dependable defender in Joel Matip, who reads the game superbly. And, of course, we have the world's best defender in Ben Davies. And Virgil van Dijk's there as well. And obviously he's pretty good as well. So when you take that out of the team and you're left with 2 reserve kids in Reece Williams and Nat Phillips, who, don't get me wrong, did a solid job, but they're not at the level to really play that game. So our game overall went down in terms of the fact that we were playing a lot more patience. We were playing a lot slower. We were trying to find gaps because we knew we couldn't take the risk of the ball being picked up and then knocked over the top. Throw in the fact as well, last season, a big part of our attacking play was gone in Virgil van Dijk's long balls. The way he expands the game in his passes to Trent or Robbo running down the wing was gone. So I don't think teams have quite yet been able to figure out Klopp. We'll probably find out this season, again, depending on injuries. But for me, last season was a blip. It wasn't the start of the end.
Okay, Stoney.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's the case. I think as a team, as a squad, as a manager, we're constantly, evolving as well. Prior to last season, we didn't just play the 4-3-3. There was games where we played the 4-4-2. There was games where we played the 4-2-3-1 as well. So this is a manager and his coaching staff as well who are not static. This is also a manager as well that is slowly making a transition, and bringing in new players as well, changing the way we actually plays. And obviously, as an example, we saw it with Jota, we saw it with when Thiago's coming with us as well. We've seen the new acquisitions with our defenders. So we're slowly rebuilding, but we still got the basis and the nucleus of a very, very, very strong squad. I also believe that in terms of new age managers, the way that they set up teams, the way that they see teams playing, Klopp is in that ilk. So, this he's not a one-dimensional manager at all. So no, I don't believe Klopp's been thought out at all. And I just look forward to us winning games this season. And I know on Monday you'll be watching closely, so you'll be able to make a good judgment from that as well, sir.
So before I give my views on that, as you said that, Stoney, on Monday said hello to Charles. How you doing, bro? Yeah. And Charles then retorted with, "Yeah, bro, he's all good. Looking forward to our club's meeting this season."
There you
Man
go.
United, Liverpool, definitely. Always looking forward to that. Always looking forward to that. All right. Charles has also said he would prefer Sanchez to Saul.
Okay.
That as well. And on Monday, he's also said he has to respect Liverpool and Klopp. He's created a side able to hang without huge signings. Very, very true. All right, so I'm going to give my thoughts on what we said about clubs sussing us out, basically. And I believe that a lot of clubs have sussed us out in certain ways, and what they do is they tend to, and when we look poor, is when they sit back and we have to break them down. That's the issue we have. If teams come and play at us, we normally tear them a new one. It's not a problem. When they sit back and they want to defend deep, this is where we struggle and we have problems. And that's why there was a lot of talk about having that creative midfielder who can make something happen and break people down. And that's why I feel that we struggle a lot. And that's what teams have sussed out about us. Sit back, play deep and try to hit them on the break. That was the one thing I would say.
I mean,
the interesting thing, just to extend on that, I think last season, and it was brilliant. We had so much people coming on our show as well, commenting about us playing one dimension in a way. And if teams were to counter-attack us, especially on the right-hand side and getting between Trent and our fullback, that was the game changer. This is where teams would beat us. People were commenting because Atletico in both games that we played against them did that to us. They were saying that, these things are saying we're one-dimensional in that way. And also what you were mentioning about teams sitting, doing a low block against us. Let's see how we play this season. Because I'm saying, as much as they were saying that Trent was the weak point, and there was a lot of people on our show saying Trent was the weak point. Okay, well, we'll see, yeah? Also with that low block as well, with us obviously having the team there, we've got Thiago. And I do believe, obviously, with now Fabinho being able to come back and play in the position that he plays so well for us, I am very, very, very confident that Thiago will be the player that will be able to unlock any of those teams that play the low block. And we saw it a lot last season as well. Long passes, short passes. This man is patient. His CV is just out there, high up there. So nobody can question that. So I do believe those teams that do the low block on us, let's watch and see how they perform against us this season. I actually welcome that. I want to see that. And I want to see people join in, subscribing and commenting with that as well. That's what I want.
Just on your point there, Artie, as well, do you believe that it is a systemic issue within the current tactics, or do you believe that what we saw last year was a consequence of the fact we had to change the way we were playing due to the injuries that we had? Because
I think it's a combination of the two for me.
Yeah. Because
I believe that teams realize what we're about with the high press and so forth. And if you try and push up on us and go at us, the pace of Mane, Salah, you're gonna get ripped. You are gonna get ripped. And so their then tactic was, all right, sit back, defend the 18-yard box, sit deep, and then we try and hit them on the counter. And I noticed that every time that happened, this is when we struggled to break him down because we didn't have that kind of what we was talking about last season, Potsy, when you weren't there, was that Coutinho-esque player.
Yeah.
That kind of guy who could do that. Kind of,
bring him on.
That as we call it, the lock picker, basically.
Yeah.
This is what we was talking about a lot. And I think that's why we was talking about we wanted that kind of player to come in. And I totally agree with Stoney because that's my thoughts as well. Fabinho sitting in there allows Thiago to go and do his thing, basically. And I also believe Harvey Elliott has that talent as well to be a lock picker as well. He has that skill, that quality to go and do similar damage as well.
Yeah.
I've said that I feel that Thiago is going to run the Premier League this season.
Yeah, he's going to have a wonderful season.
What we saw at the back end of last season was phenomenal, and the fact that he came in with the injuries he had, with the fact he was moved out of position for most of the season. Yeah, people are sleeping on this guy. And
he's mustard, and they know it. Yeah. He got up to the pace of the Premiership now. He's going to be back. Yeah. That's it. So Charles is saying, I also think that if we don't bring anybody in at the price that Edward wants, then we're more than likely buying January window. Good evening, Mark Foster. Saying evening, lads. He's saying on Monday, saying great and insightful responses, guys. Thank you very much. Very much on Monday. I think as a squad, our game is always evolving. He bought Thiago and Jota, but sadly our injuries meant we didn't get to see it last season. Good point there, Charles. We haven't had to make huge signings this season. Our rivals are playing catch up, including Man City. Hence, they went and got Grealish. They're looking at Kane, his Sergio replacement, but doesn't make them stronger. Okay. I think something about last season, which the panel has mentioned as well, is full stadiums, having that 12th man. That's the next thing. You know what it's like when you come to the COP, mate. I'll tell you, definitely. They're 100%. Was he saying VVD is going to have Sancho in his back pocket?
They talk about United.
Yeah. But I don't know. That means VVD would have to be played as a fullback.
He can do it. He can do it all. He can do it all.
He probably can. All right, gentlemen, before we go, let's have our predictions for how we're going to do for this season.
I've said it on my TikToks, Potsy Talks 40, if you want to follow, by the way. I think we are going to win it. Okay. The thing is, for me, the injuries played such a big role. I know there were other little things, Mane's performances and like you say, slower play, but I think the biggest reason for last season's performances were down to the fact we didn't have our best players for the majority of the season. We didn't have the three of the most respected centre-backs in the Premier League. One of them is considered the world's best for the majority of the season, yet we conceded less goals than Manchester United, and we finished above European champions Chelsea.
Did you hear that on Monday? Again?
We finished above European champions Chelsea. So if that doesn't tell you we don't have the quality in our squad as it is, I don't know what does. And as you said, one of those comments was absolutely right. Everyone is playing catch-up. Varane and Sancho, fantastic signings, but we've got VVD and Salah. We're sorted in those positions. So trust me, guys. I think this season, when everyone doesn't believe we can do it, you know, when you look back to the title challenge with Man City, everyone was saying there's no way Liverpool can do that again. There's no way Liverpool can get 90 points again. And we had like probably a less exciting transfer window than this one. And we went on to walk the league. Yeah. When nobody expects anything from us, that's when Klopp does his best work with bringing it home.
Okay. Slowly.
Yeah. Same thing as well, women in the league. What I would like for all of our viewers and all our followers to do is please come with your same hate and discord and distaste against us, because all of that fuel is going to hurt you even more when you see us win the league. So yeah, we are going to win the league this season. So Man City, I can see that you're strengthening your squad. I can obviously see Chelsea are strengthening. I can obviously see Manchester United as well. I won't be disrespectful and speak about Arsenal at all in that. And I know that the Blue Boys across across the Mersey. They've got Rafa in there. I don't think they're going to be near us. West Ham are going to have an indifferent season, so I can't see anybody else really being up there. So Man City, Man United, and Chelsea will be behind us. We'll win the league, and yeah, we'll just retain that happiness.
That's definitely my top four with Man United, Man City, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Definitely my top four. Yeah, 100%. I think for me, I'm never biased. I'm totally honest. And for me personally, the team I think you're going to have to watch out for, really, if they really get going, it's going to be Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah. I was going to say that as well.
They've got such a squad, and now that they've brought back Lukaku, a goal scorer, and for me, Werner has had a season in the Prem. So this season now he can kick on. If he decides to kick on as well, it's gonna be problems down at the bridge, man. I'm telling you, there's gonna be problems down at the bridge. Seriously, for me, I believe that they can do better than Man City. To be totally honest,
Tuchel's got Pep's number.
Yeah.
He's proven that since he's been in. I put Chelsea in my predictions to be second anyway.
Yeah. 100%.
Behind us, so I absolutely rate Chelsea. I think they're going to have a fantastic season as well, but not quite as good as ours.
No, I agree. So I mean, it's the same thing as well. What we've got them for the international break as well, haven't we? Got the one the 28th of August.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good game. Our second game at Anfield, we've got Burnley, and then we got Chelsea afterwards. So yeah, you're right. That's going to be a good game. We're going to walk away with the 3 points. So just remember to tune in as well, all of our viewers, and post your beautiful comments with the panel.
As we do. Good evening, Mr. B. What time is this you're joining us, man? Good evening. As we're about to say good night. He's like you. He's your Stoney.
And I think what's happened, he's taken too long to boil the warm milk for his Milo or his Horlicks.
Good evening, Mr. B. He's another one of our hosts on the Man United agenda. Good evening, sir. And so before we go quickly, Charles is going to say Liverpool first, and City second, Chelsea third, and Leicester fourth. Okay. Okay. Edward Brown says we are getting the league and the Champions League this season. Mark his words. Okay, no problem. My peoples, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having us. Do not forget to subscribe and share the link. We will be back next Thursday. Look out for it. It's all about cop talk. See you next week. Say it's goodbye from me, Potsy.
Thank you very much, guys, and thanks for having me on. It's been brilliant.
Tony.
Goodbye. Well, welcome to the show as well, Potsy. Thank you very much once again, Artie, for hosting, and thank you everybody else for tuning into the show today.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, gents. We out.
Thank you.